Hi, my name is Sarah Bentley Pearson, and I am excited to share my podcast, which features wonderful talent that I've been so lucky to discover in the Southeast. This was born out of a list that I created in 2015 called Sarah's List. And through my work in real estate, which I've been doing since 2005, and styling work, and just my personal life and my personal interests, I've been able to meet so many wonderful people, and I'm excited to share them with you. So, Rebecca, this I actually have been telling a lot of friends about how I met you and how just fortuitous the whole thing was for me because I walked into Bergdorf's. I was there recently with my son in New York, and we were in Brooklyn with my sister. And I was like, "Ugh, I'm just going to go into the city for for myself for the day, and went and had lunch at Bergdorf's, and then walked out, and I saw your beautiful painting. And I asked the sales lady about it, and I took a little picture of the card next to it. And then I did a little research, and I ended up finding your website, and I emailed you and said I loved your work and that it reminded me of America Martin, which gets to your bio also,
Yeah.
which is funny, and said, "Do you show in Atlanta?" And you said, "Well, actually, I live in Atlanta." And you live very close to me. And so that's how we met. So I'm so glad to have you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been great getting to know you. Your podcast is amazing and just learned so much. So I'm thrilled to be here and
Well,
have
your
this
work is really
conversation.
great. And reading your bio, I only know one other person that claims to be self-taught as a painter.
Uh-huh.
And it seems like such like a God-given gift to be able to actually see something or imagine something and then to be able to put it on paper.
Hmm.
So I went to art school, and I did do a few drawing classes, and I had no capability to take my eye to my
Hmm.
hand.
It's definitely been something that I've uh, I was born an artist. I feel like my mom's an artist. It's been something that just comes naturally to me. And yeah, it's something that I love and I'm passionate about, but
And
took
I
me
was
a while to kind of get to this place,
Well,
but
but I think that's life. I mean, we're not really far off in age. It's not like you're 25 years younger than me or anything. And I think life is sort of like that, and how long it takes to get to a place where you're like, I feel me.
yeah, for me, think I struggled a lot with confidence and just being expanded that this could be a possibility for me. So that took a while.
Mm-hmm.
And also just um, thinking about careers at the time when I was thinking about what I wanted to do with my life. Being an artist didn't seem like a viable career at the time. And so I ended up choosing another passion, which was interior design, and
Right.
went to school for that and had a whole career with that. And then, yeah, things just slowly started to change in the art world. Instagram and platforms like Squarespace and Shopify came online. And so those started to shift the conversation of, oh, this could be something that I could do for a living, and started to kind of get
Yeah, and I've
myself in
had a lot of
gear.
interior designers on here, like Melanie Turner, who actually turned me on to America Martin, and I actually bought one because she had turned me on to her. But I am a big believer that art is really the essence of your home. You can have beautiful couches and rugs and all of that, but without art being the true expression of who you are,
Mhm.
that and I'm always a little sad when I go into people's homes where the art says nothing.
Mhm.
It looks like it's just been picked by a very, you know, an interior designer that's trying to match the sofa.
Mhm.
Like I love, I think that's what I was drawn to about your particular piece is that it was bold. I have a vision of what room I would want it to be
Mhm.
in. I mean, there
Mhm.
is a little bit of that in me, but the composition, and I loved the man and the woman, and I was thinking above my bed because of that. But um But I also think it was so interesting that it's like I walked in and there was a lot of art in the room and I was completely drawn to you. And then here you live in
I know, that's
Atlanta,
so interesting.
and I'm
Yeah.
in Bergdorf's and I was thinking of buying it regardless, but it means so much more too that I was able to meet you. And so then that piece has a story around it as well. That's another thing that I love about art is that
Mhm.
typically art is not transactional necessarily. It has emotion or an experience that, one shares when purchasing that piece.
Mhm.
And I would wanted to say also that when I went to visit your studio at your home, which I like to do when I meet artists,
Uh-huh.
is that I was very impressed by the volume of your work.
I do work in high volume. I
Yeah.
work quickly. And, it's interesting because for so long I held off. There was many years where I didn't paint. But ironically, I was still dreaming and thinking about painting when I would lay my head down at night. And then finally, like as I got my act together and became more consistent in my studio practice, I did that by just small chunks of time spending there, 10, 15 minutes, just to get my consistency muscle moving and um, flexing. And through that consistent action, I started being able to move through the work faster. I started to well, I also work on multiple pieces at the same time. So I think that helps. But through that consistency, it really helped speed up the process for me. And I think just in general, I work quickly. I don't have time
But you
to.
clearly like to work.
I
You
love to work.
love to
I'm
paint.
obsessed with
Yeah, yeah.
working
What sign are
with
you?
painting. I'm a
Oh,
Pisces.
you're a Pisces. Yeah.
I have
Well,
a Capricorn. Was am I? I'm a Taurus moon and a Capricorn rising. I think the Capricorn part might be. Well, there's
I don't
Capricorn in
know.
there or
Like
something.
I don't know a ton about astrology,
I
but
don't.
I do like to know people's signs because I think there are some themes
Yes.
about people's signs. But regardless, I thought to myself, well, you love what you do and you have a strong work ethic because there was a lot of work there. And the book you said, the daily painting, is that
Hmm.
which just sort of got you into the exercise? Because I think with anything, you know, so much of life is habits, and I'm sure, you could be a painter and like to paint, but maybe just kind of be a little lazy about it. Was this book inspiring to you? Was it sort of telling you, get up and just do 10 minutes? If you, I guess,
Yeah,
because
it
it's like a
changed.
painting, you're like, oh my God, I don't have 3 days to sit in my studio, but I,
Yeah, it changed everything for my career. I really have to say that because at the time I was working as an interior designer. I'm a mom. I mean, life is just busy, and at the end of the day, I was tired, and it was hard to find the time to devote to my studio practice.
Mhm.
And so, discovering this book really helped me structure my studio practice, structure my mindset as far as like saying, okay, let's not work on the big paintings right now. Let's focus on small paintings that can get done in under an hour. And by taking that pressure off to be like, I need to be in the studio for several hours to get stuff done, I'm going to go up for 30 minutes. And that was more doable for me
Mhm.
at night when I'm tired and just want to veg out and watch TV. And so getting up in the studio for 20, 30 minutes, I started to crave that on a regular basis. And so that would turn into 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. And one of the things that being in the studio for me, it gives me energy, not it doesn't drain me. So that starts to become addictive when you're like, you feel passionate about something
Well,
that
I
you're
mean, it
doing.
feels to me like you're talking like about meditation or working out or any of these things that can feel that it's sort of good for you, but feel overwhelmed by it.
Yes.
And then the payback is huge. And I'm sure, I mean, I'm not a painter, I'm not an artist. I did go to art school because that was kind of like I wanted to go to school in New York, and that just seemed like sort of creative and I could do it. But, when I went to school for photography, I loved to be in the dark room. And your point about, am I an artist? Can I make that work? I mean, that was really always my struggle. I love art and I feel like I have a good eye for it, but I never thought I was truly an artist.
Hmm.
And I guess that is something you just know inside about yourself.
I've always known it. It was just the being in alignment with taking action, make like, and being confident and bringing that together. Yeah,
And so
it is
how
something innate, but I do getting back to, like, exercise and meditation, like, I have thought, like, "Oh, this definitely applies to anything." Like, just I mean, I struggle right now with getting my exercise in and eating healthy and, like, making time for myself because I'm so focused on work and, like, all the other things that I have to do that's kind of I just self-care has fallen by the wayside a little bit, and I'm starting to think, "Oh, I can just spend 15 minutes a day exercise." Like, that just takes the pressure off.
it does.
Um,
Yeah,
so I think it does
yeah, I
apply
mean,
to
I taught spinning for like 12 years and
Oh,
have
wow.
always been like a grinder, like a very A-type personality. But, now I still lift weights a few days a week, but I don't run anymore or do really high impact things because I've had like issues in my hips and things
Mhm.
like that. And, it's like, I always thought yoga was like, oh, that's so wimpy. And now, like, I wish I did more yoga then too. But my point is I started walking a lot during
Mhm.
COVID, and now I do that with a lot of pleasure, and I work it into my work too. So
Mhm.
sometimes I'm out there, and I'm like, okay, I'll make the time to call my clients, but I'm also doing that. And I think, when you get to be of a certain age, there's a lot on our plates,
Mhm.
and I don't know about you, but I think most women feel this like incredible pressure to do things perfectly.
Mhm.
And if we can't do it perfectly, then just forget it. But, your practice has made perfect. So tell me about how you ended up in Bergdorf's. I mean, that's pretty big deal.
I know, yeah, it's a dream that came true that I didn't even know I had. I got started selling my artwork through Cherish, which is an online
Hmm.
curated platform
Hmm.
that sells, original art, antiques, vintage,
Yes, I'm familiar
and
with it.
and, very cool. I really love Cherish. I think that it's a really neat platform. And so I started selling and did really well and have been with them, gosh, for a couple years now doing that. And they decided that they wanted to open up a pop up art gallery at Bergdorf's and collaborate with them. And they pulled all of their, I guess, most successful artists
Hmm.
and created this curated experience that you could experience in person. And so, yeah, that's how I got into Bergdorf's. And
Yeah, I mean, you were
uh,
really like well
they,
positioned. You weren't in one of the
yeah,
little rooms. I mean,
yeah.
you were right there front and center. And I've told a lot of people about your work and that how I feel like it was just, you know, a happy accident, how it all came together that I was able to find you. And, I think I really do like your small paintings too. I think they would be beautiful in a collection,
Hmm.
on a wall. And do you work with interior designers as well?